Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Japan Pavilion seminar entitled Roles of Forest in Climate Crisis. I'm Kazuki Miyamoto from Forestry and Forest Products Research Institute, Japan. This seminar aims to share the information about current activities tackling various issues and climate crisis, including climate mitigation, adaptation measures, and rights of local communities, including women's rights. And today, we have four speakers to address these topics. Ladies and gentlemen, first, we'd like to invite Mr. Tanimura Eiji, Deputy Director General, Forestry Agency of Japan. So, Tanimura-san, may we have your opening remarks?
Hello, everyone. My name is Eiji Tanimura, Deputy Director General of the Forestry Agency of Japan. It is a great honor to join you today for this important seminar of Roles of Forest in the Climate Crisis, hosted by FFPRI and co-organized with ITTO. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our distinguished speakers, Dr. Lucas José Mazzei de Freitas from Embrapa, Dr. Cécile Bibiane Ndjebet from REFACOF, and Dr. Miyamoto Kazuki and Dr. HIRATA Yasumasa from FFPRI for your valuable contribution to this event. In recent years, there has been an increasing number of extreme weather events, such as large-scale forest fires, droughts, and floods. In this context, the role of forests has become more crucial than ever. Forests play a vital role in climate change mitigation by absorbing and storing carbon dioxide, as well as serving as a key element of adaptation, helping to prevent natural disasters and sustain the livelihood of local communities. In Japan, cyclical use of forest resources is an important policy measure for achieving carbon neutrality and a sustainable society. We promote sustainable forest management and the effective use of wood through a continuous cycle of harvesting, utilizing, replanting, and tending in planted forests. In addition, the Forestry Agency of Japan has been working for International Forestry Corporation to promote sustainable forest management worldwide, including financial contribution to ITTO and FAO, the dispatch of our officers to JICA project, and the development of forestry-related technologies. As part of the technical development, we are supporting the FFPRI project to develop forest-based disaster risk reduction in Global South countries. I believe today's seminar is a valuable opportunity to share the outcomes of these efforts. I sincerely hope that today's seminar will deepen understanding of critical role of forest play in the era of climate crisis, and further promote sustainable forest management in all regions of the world. I wish all participants a fruitful and meaningful session. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Tanimura-san. So today, we also have opening remarks by Ms. Sheam Satkuru, Executive Director, International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO. Her opening remarks will be given by a video message.
Distinguished delegates, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, a very good day to all of you. It is my great pleasure to address you today at this important seminar on the roles of forests in the climate change crisis, hosted by the Forestry and Forest Products Research Institute, FFPRI, and co-organized by the Forestry Agency of Japan and the International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO. As we gather here at COP30 in Belém, the world is facing an era of unprecedented and unpredictable climate challenges. Large-scale climate-related disasters are occurring with increasing frequency and intensity. From wildfires and droughts to catastrophic floods and storm surges, affecting millions of lives and livelihoods. Urgent and collective action is needed. Forests are scientifically proven to play a critical role in both mitigation and adaptation. Their capacity to absorb atmospheric carbon has been central to global climate discussions, from the Kyoto Protocol and REDD+ to the Paris Agreement. At the same time, forests provide essential adaptation functions, acting as natural buffers that reduce disaster risks. Restored landscapes in mountainous areas can prevent landslides. Mangrove forests protect coasts from erosion and storm surges. And sustainably managed forests are more resilient to drought, pests, and other extreme events. Tropical forests, in particular, are vital for the long-term well-being of millions of people, not only in the tropics but around the world. Sustainable forest management is not only a tool for climate action. It is a foundation for development, biodiversity conservation, and building resilient societies. Investments in forest conservation and sustainable use are climate-smart investments. They reduce future disaster costs, support carbon-neutral economies through renewable materials like timber, food and medicinal plants, and deliver essential ecosystem services such as water regulation, carbon storage, and recreation. ITTO is proud to contribute to these efforts. For nearly 40 years, ITTO has promoted the sustainable management and conservation of tropical forests and the expansion of legal and sustainable timber trade. With the generous support of the government of Japan and other major donors, ITTO has implemented numerous field projects on reforestation, landscape restoration, capacity building, and community engagement that strengthen the protective functions of forests and enhance local resilience. Today's seminar offers a unique chance to exchange knowledge and experience across sectors, policy, research, civil society, and international organizations on how forests can strongly support climate mitigation and adaptation. ITTO remains fully committed to working with our members and partners to mobilize financing and partnerships needed for tropical forests to realize their full potential in achieving a resilient, sustainable, and inclusive future for all. Thank you, and I wish you all a fruitful and inspiring seminar.
Thank you, Sheam-san, for the excellent opening remarks. So now let's move on to today's presentation. The first speaker is Dr. Lucas Mazzei from Embrapa, Eastern Amazon. The title is Tropical Forest Management as a Tool for Social Justice and Sovereignty of Traditional Communities. The case of Reserva Verde para Sempre in the Brazilian Amazon. So Dr. Lucas, the stage is yours. Give you a chance, but you have a pointer.
All right, no, thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the invitation for the Forest Agency of Japan. Thank you also for the co-organizers, ITTO, and also the Forest Institute. It's a pleasure to be here and to show a little bit the impact of what we are doing with research, the research vision, working the forest management here in Brazil. I did the presentation with my three colleagues, Fabrício, Milton, and Maximilian, and I will bring some results that we have in a project called Bom Manejo. It's a long-term cooperation with ITTO, with the government of Japan here in Brazil. I will bring you some very large context of forest management in Brazil. The first is to say that most of the production in Brazil came from private forest. More than 9% came from the private forest. The other came from the public, the wildwood. 9% also of the production, it's to use in local market. Only 80% it's in export. If we see these two maps here in the right up corner, the first one show to us the properties of the public forest, also for indigenous peoples, community forests, and the second one is the private forest. Looking for these two maps, you can see that we have a considerable potential for development of forest community and to bring development for communities living close to the forest and the use of the forest. But we have some issues for the education and research in Brazil. Even if we have 21 courses of forest management in Amazon and more than 2,000 students studying forest management, we have only 3 groups of researchers doing research in forest management in Brazil, and no more than 20 researchers. Here in this map, in the right corner, down in this slide, we can see the lack of information that we have in the light yellow. Some places we don't have any information about ecological research. So I will bring some results that we have working with forest management in the last years, what the science can say about the forest management here in Brazil. Even if we've did minor intervention in the forest, the composition of flora, the floristic of forest will change. The economic viability of the second cut cycle depends to remain the stock of mature trees in the forest. It's impossible to cut all of the trees. You need to leave these trees for the second cut cycle. And also, we need to have farm market prices to do that. The third find is that log intensity and cut cycle must be based on a species structure and population. And the last one, while production timber can be perpetual in time, so it's possible to have an infinite production of wood, the forest management is inherently limited by area of occurrence and forest management of tropical forest. And what we can learn, the science can learn, working with the society, working with the communities. So I would like to use this quote of Krenak. Krenak is a researcher, a Brazilian researcher, is also a leader, an indigenous leader here in Brazil. He say that we can imagine new cartographies, layers of the world, where narratives are so plural that we don't need to come into conflict when evoking different founding stories. And also, when we try to find some new silvicultural systems for the forest, we need to work with them, with the community, local people, indigenous people, and to discuss the new ways to use these forests. Sustainability of the forest management must be part of a societal vision, not only a scientific vision. And we cannot rely solely on market forces to manage tropical forests. I will bring some results from the project here in Brazil, in Porto de Mós. We work in the Resex Verde para Sempre. It's an area of more than 1 million of hectares. We have 35 communities and more than 3,000 families living inside, and 145,000 of hectares being managed for timber produce. More than 300 people which working in forest and management activities inside this community. It's a very nice ground for exchange to build bridges between local cosmovision of the communities and the scientific forest management. These communities already have their own demands, needs, and relationship with the forest. They already use the trees or the forest to build houses, to build boats, community infrastructure, and also to produce timber, saw timber, or outdoors and windows, not only the round wood timbers as we mainly produce in Brazil. The principal lessons that we learned work with the communities is women's empowerment is essential to effective forest governance in local communities. The choice of species and trees to be cut must be part of collective decision based on the community manager's objectives. It's a collective decision to choose the trees to be cut. Community associations need to maintain active communication between them. It's important to have price and costs aligned to be the discussion with the timber market. And the last one, forest management is also seen for the community as a way to control the territory and to maintain a presence in the forested areas surrounding the communities. The last one is only to show to you the arrangement that we have, the institutional arrangement and the support we have to work with forest management in this territory. To do that, to discuss forest management, we cannot do alone, only the science, and try to know the new ways to make the forest management sustainable. We need to have different partnerships and different arrangements of institutions. Thank you. Obrigado.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lucas, for the impressive presentation. So we will take questions from the audience later, if time allows. So next speaker is Dr. Cécile Bibiane Ndjebet from African Women's Network for Community Management of Forests, REFACOF. The title is Climate Crisis, the Solution from African Women in Benin, Cameroon, and Togo. Dr. Cécile, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for coming, and thanks very much for the invitation. I would like to share with you what women are doing in Africa to address the climate crisis. Next, please. Next, please. Okay. Yes, so we start with just a word on what is our network. As you see in the map, we are in Central Africa, in West Africa, and in Madagascar. The African Women Network for Community Management were created in 2009 in Yaoundé, and we are a platform for advocacy for women's rights in tenure, land, and forest resources reforms. We promote women's rights in Africa and advocate to shape policies and practices for gender equity in land and forest. Next, please. A bit of context and statistics. There is a growing recognition of the importance of forests in addressing climate change, to conservation, to sustainability, and to livelihood. And for that, I would like to cite the UNDP Climate Promise, where they say forests cover nearly a third of the Earth's land surface, equivalent to the combined areas of Brazil, Canada, China, and the United States. The UNDP is saying also that forests constitute a vital component of almost very face of the life of our planet. And forests serve as home to at least 60,000 different tree species, 80% of amphibian species, 75% of bird species, and 68% of the world mammal species. And for the nearly 1 billion people who depend on them. For COMIFAC, the Central African Commission on Forests, they say that the Central African Commission on Forests is estimated, surface estimated to 318 million hectares, with that represent around 22% of the world tropical forest, 15.6% of the protected areas. And the world is the world's largest carbon sink in terms of carbon footprint and also in terms of what they call tons of carbon dioxide per year. And it provides livelihood for a medium of 80 million people with 40,000 jobs created. Thank you. Next, please. The pledge. And another context is on the pledge from a Bonn Challenge, where some African countries have committed to restoring degraded land. And for that, because I will be citing Benin, Cameroon, and Togo, that's why I'm also showing you what Benin has committed to restoring. So they committed to restoring 500,000 hectares of degraded land, and Cameroon 12 million, and Togo 1,400,000 hectares of degraded land. And now if we add to the context the climate change, its impact, we will see, and we link it to women, we see that women are more impacted by climate change because of all what they are doing as women, the responsibility they have to biodiversity and to feed the family and to feed the community. Next, please. What are the initiatives women are carrying out in Benin, in Cameroon, in Togo to address climate change? You will see in the forest restoration in Benin, women have succeeded to restore not less than 20 hectares. And these are the statistics of the last year, in Benin. 20 hectares of land has been restored and 50,000 of seedlings have been produced. And you see also the number of women that are involved, 211, and young people. And you see in the photos what they are doing. Next, please. Then we go to Cameroon. Cameroon, I have shared in mangrove area and also in terrestrial forest. Mangrove area, this is the work of the last 2 years, where women in Cameroon have succeeded to restoring 333 hectares of degraded mangrove area with almost 1 million of seedlings that was produced. And you see how many women, 179 women are involved in that, and 94 young people. And you can see in the different photos with the different, you see the nursery, you see how they are building it, you see what they are doing in that, women and the youth. Next, please. And in Togo, let's say in Cameroon now, in the terrestrial forest, they have restored so far in the last, this is a statistic of the last 3 years, they have restored 335 hectares with 142,000 seedlings that has been produced, and they have involved 210 women and 119 young people. And you see we have local community women, we have indigenous women in this project, and we have young people. Next, please. And now in Togo, the last 2 years, the Togo women have restored 20 hectares of degraded area, and they have produced 78,000 of seedlings in 2 community nurseries. They have involved 150 women that have been benefiting for that, and 25 young people. And you can also see sometimes training activities, they are building the nursery, they are taking care of it. And you see the forest that has been, they have chosen all of them agroforestry system. Next, please. And what has been the impact of this? Next. The major impact. If you look at this figure, I don't know how to put it. You see, we have seen the improved agricultural yield very, very clearly. No, the first one, please, not this one. The last. Yes, this one. And you see that the changes in the vegetation is very clearly. And from, you are going very far. Yeah. The photo in the middle, that was situation 0 when the women were starting. And you see at the up, where we are today, you see the changes in the vegetation, and you see the same in the mangrove. And you find that the mangrove is coming back as the forest is also being restored. Next, please. Now the next one, yes, and here is the agricultural productivity that has increased because the soil fertility has also improved, and women have improved their income because they are selling the surplus of the food that they have been producing. You see the pineapple, you see fruit from the forest, you see maize, and you see what we call, I don't know how to call it in English, but we call it, it's a piece which very, very expensive in the local market. Next, please. So based on all these impact that has been produced, the perspective of what women of this initiative is that it's just a few years, and with very, very limited resources, very little fund, women have restored not less than 600 hectares of forest, of degraded forest land and mangrove in Benin, in Cameroon, and in Togo. And not to mention all other benefits such as job creation, women's empowerment, improvement of women's rights to tenure, to land. Adding to this, the area restored in Côte d'Ivoire, in the DRC, in Ghana, in Equatorial Guinea is estimated to more than 2,000 hectares of degraded forest land and mangrove. So when we take all together, the 3 initiatives are shared, but other countries where REFACOF is also present and working. So women are committed to restoring millions of hectares of degraded land across Africa to support African government in their commitment through the Born Challenge initiative. And what is needed is funding support and security tenure right for the women and youth. And I would like to thank specifically Soka Gakkai, who has helped, who has supporting this, who have been supporting this initiative, ITTO, and the consumption we call BAD, and also the Kaluste Gulbenkian Foundation for all what they are doing in supporting women in these activities of land restoration and, of course, livelihood development. It is reported that less than 0.0% of the climate finance overall go to women. And so the key challenge is really getting funded, supported by access to finance for the women. Next, please. And for REFACOF, the lack of trust in women is the root cause of their exclusion from financing. We have, by experience, that what we think that maybe most of these funding agencies don't have trust, even if they recognize that women are playing a key role, but they don't have trust in funding them. So while women are recognized as key actors, they don't have access to adequate financial resources. And this is a problem that I would like everyone here in the audience to think of and to continue to support. And let's say take the decision to support women, because we are doing things that are helping the planet and the livelihood of the communities. African women are therefore urgently appeal to all donors, technical and financial partners, head of state and government, the philanthropy, the private sector, to collectively support the effort of African women, without whom 2030 will never deliver the expected result. Solidarity and justice are at stake. Women have agency, they have the knowledge. Women are forest champion by nature. Women have the solution, and women themselves are the solution. Next, please. Women power. Thank you. And this is the program REFACOF has developed. And I would like to invite you It's from this program that all the initiative I have shared is coming from. If you just fill that QR, you'll have the details of all the program, what we are trying to push, 20 million trees in the 23 countries. You can imagine how much women can do. And the last slide is just to say, next please, thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cécile, for your presentation with powerful messages. Okay, so the next speaker is Mr. OKABAYASHI Masato from Forestry Agency of Japan. The title is Japan's Efforts in Climate Change Countermeasures through Sustainable Forest Management and Wood Use. Okabayashi-san, the stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Masato Okabayashi from Forestry Agency of Japan. I firstly acknowledge FFPRI and ITTO to co-organize this seminar. And also I thank for the guest speakers from Embrapa and REFACOF for joining us and creating this seminar. Thank you so much. Today, I will present Japan's efforts in climate change measures through sustainable forest management and wood use. Next one, please. First, this is an overview of Japan's forests. Forests cover 2/3 of Japan's land area, and 40% of the forest area are planted forests. The area is about 10 million hectares. Next, please. Forest growing stock has increased mainly in planted forests. As of 2022, it's reached about 3.5 billion cubic meters. That is 6 times larger than in 1966. Light chart shows the age structure. More than half of the planted forests have reached harvesting stage. This is a brief background information of forests in Japan. Next, please. Considering many planted forests have reached their harvesting stages, their carbon absorption capacity gradually declines. So what we do is we promote harvesting mature trees, using the timber, replanting trees, and grow healthy forests. This is the mitigation measure by forest sector in Japan. Next, please. This illustrates how SFM and wood utilization contribute to store the carbon both in forest and cities. The upper part is forest, and the blue part shows how CO2 is stored during harvesting, replanting, growing, and harvesting again in forest. The lower part illustrates contribution to carbon stock in city by wood use. When trees are harvested, standing trees are processed into log and processed to timber, and the timber will be used as the materials for the wood building. The carbon is stocked as shown in blue color in the city. In addition, wood residuals generated during the processing, they are utilized as woody biomass, which serving as the substitute to fossil fuel. Likewise, through the cyclical use of forest resources, carbon is stored both in forests and cities. Next, please. This is the outline of basic plan of forest and forestry in Japan. This plan is revised approximately every 5 years to promote comprehensive measures of forest-related policies. The current plan aims to achieve green growth that's contributing to both improvement of socioeconomic and carbon neutrality. This plan consists of 5 main pillars: proper management and utilization of forest resources, new forestry, strengthening the wood industry, and creating second forest in cities and creating new values in rural area. From the next slide, I will briefly introduce some of these initiatives. Next, please. Japan has forest resources now to use. However, there are challenges to carry out harvesting and reforestation, such as productivity, labor safety, and profitability. To tackle these challenges, we are promoting the use of new technologies, introducing automated forestry machinery for operations such as felling, collecting logs, and weeding in order to reduce cost and improve safety environment in forestry. Also, we utilize data measurement for forest resource that improves the efficiency of forest survey, and introducing high growth elite trees to shorten the harvesting period from 50 to 30 years, our target that will improve profitability. Next, please. This chart shows wood demand in Japan. The demand in 2023 was 80 million cubic meter. I focus on domestic wood supply. It reached the bottom in 2002 to 70 million cubic meter. However, it gradually recovered and reached double, 34 million cubic meter 2023. The contribution of this recovery due to the increased forest resources and technical development in wood industry. During these years, the wood self-sufficient rate increased from 18% to 43%. Next, please. In 2010, Japan enacted a law to promote the use of wood in public buildings, providing a legal framework to enhance the wood use for public sector. The law obliges the government to promote wood use in public building as long as possible. Therefore, the ratio wooden structure in rural public building rose from 18 to 31% between 2010 to 23. Next, please. This chart illustrates that 80% of low-rise residential buildings are wooden structure, while most of high-rise buildings are steel or reinforced concrete, not wooden building. Currently, Forestry Agency promotes development of fire-resistant wood materials and cross-laminated wood to expand wood use for such high-rise building, collaborating with other government agencies and private sectors. Wood buildings have been built recent years. This is current initiative to increase wood use in Japan. Next, please. As presented today, forests have the function to absorbing and storing CO2 by using timber produced from these forests in building. Carbon can be stored for the long term. In addition, since wood consumes relatively less energy in its manufacturing and processing compared to other materials, the use of wood in building contributes to reducing emissions throughout the life cycle of building. Furthermore, wood residuals generated during the processing can be utilized as a substitute for fossil fuel that contributes to emission reduction. So I would like to conclude my presentation that Forestry Agency aims to contribute to the achievement of net zero by sustainable forest management and wood use. Next, please. Finally, let me introduce Green Expo 2027 with the hope of seeing you all in Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Okabayashi-san, for your excellent presentation about Japan's action in forestry on climate change countermeasures. Okay, so the last speaker is Dr. Hirata Yasumasa from Forestry and Forest Products Research Institute. The title is The Role of Forest in Climate Change Adaptation in the Global South. So Hirata-san, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hirata from Forestry and Forest Product Research Institute. Our institute is organizer of this seminar, so thank you very much for joining this seminar. Today, I'm talking about role of forest in climate change adaptation in the global south. So next slide, please. In the global south, this orderly land use changes in mountainous areas and coastal areas exacerbate the severity of damage caused by natural disasters. To mitigate this damage, it is necessary to enhance the resilience of mountainous and coastal area through forest management. Next, please. During period of economic growth, traditional land use rules are disregarded, and land use expands into area with high disaster risk, resulting in disasters. Early adaptation of forest conservation techniques for mountain disasters and protective measures against storm surge damage represents a highly cost-effective investment for the future. Therefore, proper forest management is a feasible measure for disaster risk reduction. Next, please. Forests prevent soil erosion through their root system, and trees and herbaceous plants suppress surface soil runoff caused by rain by covering the ground. Furthermore, forests absorb precipitation through their canopy and understory vegetation, allowing some of it to evaporate before storing the remainder in highly water-retaining forest soils. This stored water is then released gradually into river, thereby reducing peak flood flows during heavy rain events. Next, please. Tree root system exert resistance to suppress soil movement when collapse is imminent. Developing root systems can mitigate disaster risk. Next, please. Global climate change is expected to cause sea level rise and an increase in large typhoon with low central pressure, thereby heightening the risk of disaster from high waves and storms in coastal areas. Next, please. So mangrove forests have the potential to prevent erosion of coastal areas due to rising sea level caused by climate change, and to reduce the risk of storm surge caused by typhoon, which expected to become strong as sea temperature rise, as ITTO address mentions. As an action to reduce the hazard of coastal area exposed to the risk of sea level rise, conservation activities in coastal areas through mangrove reforestation are being actively promoted. Next, please. So where mangroves are present along the coast, the wave energy is reduced by the vortices generated when waves strike the mangrove trees, thereby mitigating damage. Next, please. As a measure to mitigate the risks faced by coastal area vulnerable to sea level rise, mangrove planting initiatives for coastal conservation are being actively promoted. Next, please. However, several challenges exist in realizing the disaster risk reduction functions of mangroves. Mangroves planted without proper post-planting management because overcrowded, diminishing their disaster risk reduction functions. Furthermore, if the bamboo wave barriers installed to help planted mangroves establish themselves break and block waterways, the mangroves decline. Therefore, appropriate post-planting management is crucial. I guess that's all today I want to talk to you. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Hirata-san, for your wonderful talk showing the importance of forest-based disaster risk reduction. Okay, so now we are moving on to the panel discussion. So all speakers, would you come up to the stage? Please. Are you ready? Okay, so now we start panel discussion. First, I'd like to show you the background and the purpose. So at this COP30, held in the forested nation of Brazil, the launch of Rainforest Forever Fund aimed at forest conservation will be declared. This underscores the growing emphasis on forest role in accelerating action against the climate crisis. So this panel discussion will therefore explore what priorities should be addressed next from the perspective of climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, and local communities' rights, including women's rights, and also biodiversity to achieve forest conservation and sustainable forest management. So today we set 3 questions. And the first one is here. What climate mitigation measures should be prioritized to achieve forest conservation and sustainable forest management? And what is needed to accelerate existing mitigation efforts, including REDD+? So for this question, first, I'd like to ask Mr. Okabayashi about for the comments and opinions. So Okabayashi, could you start your opinion?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to share my view on the priority for mitigation actions in the forest sector. To promote forest conservation and sustainable forest management from the perspective of climate mitigation, I believe first and important step is to identify priority actions based on the specific circumstances of each country and each region, such as forest conditions, resources, land use background, and socio-economic conditions. In some regions, the priority action should be on reducing emission, like REDD+. For other regions, increasing removals, such as afforestation, reforestation, or promoting sustainable wood use, may be more suitable. The next point is the importance of the developing policies to implement these priorities. When policy and legal framework are established, all stakeholders, including not only government, but also private sector, civil society, local communities, NGO implementation agency, etc., can work together towards the same goal, same direction. In my country, the circular use of planted forest resources and the carbon storage function of forests are clearly positioned in the national policies that contribute to promote measures and actions by relative stakeholders. To promote these priority actions, technological development based on both scientific and traditional knowledge is also crucial. This scope includes a wide range of elements such as forest resource information, monitoring technology, nursery and silviculture techniques, and so on. So practical tools are also important. For example, FFPRI developed RED+ cookbook, and that explains how to set the forest reference level to start the RED+ project, and how to conduct monitoring of forests. Those technical tools play an important role in supporting practical implementation of the projects. Furthermore, capacity building is indispensable. It is most important factor to accelerate action, in my opinion. Enhancing the capacity of landowners, indigenous people, and local communities is essential. And I emphasize here that the established benefit sharing mechanism with that local people is a key element of the sustainable forest management. Finally, securing finance is vital for accelerating and sustaining mitigation efforts. Stable finance supports, including result-based payments for RED+ projects, is crucial to accelerate that efforts, current trials and efforts. In summary, I believe that combining those elements, identify priority actions, developing institutional framework, technological development, promoting capacity building, and securing good finance will be able to accelerate the mitigation actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Okabayashi-san. And Dr. Lucas, do you have any other opinion about this climate change mitigation measures?
Thank you for asking. I think in the point of view of forest management, the mitigation is mainly related, in my case, in the point of view as a science operator. What we see is that we need to improve the way that we are doing the forest management. I think in Brazil, but in all of the tropical forest, because the mitigation we can change a little bit the simple system that we have in the forest. Like, for example, only the choose of the trees that we are cutting. If you discuss with the communities to choose exactly what the trees we need to cut, we can reduce the damage of the forest, only to make the simple choice in the forest. So it's only to give an example. It's not a global one and not a regional one, but if I can give some local ideas to use the mitigation process to help us in the forest sector, I will say to change these systems of forest that we are trying to use now, and to take an advance with the discussion of the communities. I think this is a point that we can improve the process of forest management, and we can help the mitigation in this case.
Okay, thank you. I understand the common point of view of two of you is identify the special circumstances in the nation and the region. So it's because this condition is varying place to place. Thank you so much for many comments. Okay, so we'd like to move on next question. So second question is about adaptation. So while progress assessment for the global goal on adaptation, or GGA, are being discussed, climate change adaptation is fundamentally a local issue with varying regional circumstances. So how should forest-based climate adaptation measures be advanced, considering both global and local as dimensions? So, Dr. Hirata, do you have any comments on this issue?
Okay, thank you very much. As Dr. Miyamoto pointed out, climate change adaptation measures vary significantly depending on regional, environmental, and social conditions. Therefore, it is difficult to set target indicators for the GGA that take these conditions into account. Formulating adaptation measures require predicting the impact of climate change in each region, identifying local challenges, and developing countermeasures based on scientific data. While forest-based climate change measures like the ECO-DRR, ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, I discussed today, hold promise. Forests alone cannot prevent disasters. At the same time, funding for climate change adaptation is also insufficient, like climate change mitigation. Therefore, we should explore the optimal mix of ECO-DRR, which can be introduced relatively inexpensively, and conventional disaster countermeasures. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hirata-san, for fruitful suggestion. So on the same question, Dr. Cécile, do you have another comment on this?
Yes, thank you very much. I think what I could add is that we cannot be addressing climate change through adaptation and not putting into account local community needs. So I think the adaptation should also be carried out to improve the livelihood of the local communities. It means that they should be part of the designing of the adaptation project. They should be part of the decision-making of what are we going to do, and they should be also part of the benefit sharing. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a kind of adaptive management, I think. So the important point is to improve the solution based on considering nature-based solution. So thank you so much. Okay, now let's move on to the third question. The third one is here. So how should the rights of local communities and biodiversity be protected while advancing climate change mitigation and adaptation using forests? So first, Dr. Lucas, I'd like you to ask this question from the point of view of community participation.
Thank you again. Once again, I will deliver the message of a scientific operator, not a point of view of community people, but the relation that we have with the forest communities working with forest management. We see two major questions for this to guarantee the rights. The first one is the market. Again, I will repeat this: the market alone is not able to guarantee the sustainability of the communities of the forest management. Even if you need labels or safeguards, the market alone is not able to do that. We need to make an arrangement. That's what we saw in our research. We need to make institutional arrangements between civil society, governments, institutions of research, universities, and local communities to work together to help to decide how the forest management will be managed. I think this is one of the points. And the second one that we are seeing in our projects is that the payment for the environmental services, the funds need to go to the communities. We don't see this. Many of the communities is participating of the mechanism of the schemes of the payments like Red Plus, or other schemes. And the community is not receiving the money. And as Cécile said, we don't need too many money to make the difference, but they need the money. And this is the central point, I think, to the mechanism of payment for environment services. In the point of view of the science, we are seeing that this money is not arriving. So this is a countermeasure to improve the systems if you are not thinking how to make this money arrive in the communities. So this is the first, I think, the most important points that we are seeing working with the forest communities.
Okay, Dr. Lucas, thank you so much for your comments. So, Dr. Cécile, also I'd like to ask you about the same question from the point of view of women's livelihood and rights. So.
Thank you very much. And thanks, Dr. Lucas, because you said the critical issues that we have to take into account. But I will add to that the tenure issues, the tenure security. In most of our countries in Africa, the land belongs to the state. If you want to have women involved as a shed in restoration activities to bring back the nature, we should also make sure that we have arranged the tenure right to those people. And first. Second, direct access to funding. I was sharing now that women in Africa are saying that donors do not trust them while they recognize that they are doing great things. Why do they not trust them? That is the question. So we need to make sure that mechanism for financing women activities are put in place with all what you may think of. And the third thing that was said already by Dr. Lucas is payment for the services. All what women have done, recovering the degraded area. And Dr. showed now that how much mangrove can help to address climate crisis, and women are restoring the mangrove. What are they getting as benefit from what they are doing? So I think we have the tenure right to arrange, we have access to funding, and we also have access to benefit sharing. That's what I can add. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, okay, Dr. Hirata, for additional comments.
It's a very short comment. Thank you very much for two good comments. So, climate change mitigation and adaptation through forest utilization are closely linked to forest conservation and sustainable forest management. Forest conservation and sustainable management can be achieved without the understanding of local community that utilize those forests. And if research project in Vietnam, and Peru to achieve such a forest conservation. We strive to promote understanding among local communities by presenting the benefit of forest conservation. For example, the water supply or avoiding a forest fire through scientific data and models. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hirata-san. So the important, we received the important message. So financial scheme and mechanism is fundamental to advance the climate mitigation and adaptation measures to realize forest conservation, restoration, and sustainable forest management. Thank you so much. So, okay. So do you have any other additional comments and opinion for all three questions? Do you have? Okay, Lucas.
It's only to point out as what Mr. Okabayashi says, and also Dr. Hirata. I think we need to look for the local to see how to work with this issue in the local, but in the same way, at least for the point of view of the science, I see the importance to make this kind of partnerships between institutions of forests, institutions of science, to change or to have new ideas of how to work with the forest. So it's important. I think even with we need to work in a local place to make the changes. We need, at least for the science, we need to make huge partnerships with other governments, at least to have new ideas of how to work with the forest, to have new insights of the new silvicultural systems or cutting cycle or intensity of logging and so on. I think this is two ways of dealing with this. Is the local to make the difference really occurs, and the global or regional to have new ideas. I think this is the point that I would like to stress.
Okay, thank you. So you mean that the partnership involving various sectors is a very important aspect. Thanks so much. So
yes, I would like to add in that partnership that is also very important to make sure that local communities, including women and young people, are part of all the process. Even in the scientific work, they have to base their work, because there are a lot of knowledge, traditional knowledge. This is developed by local communities, indigenous people and women, that can inform the scientific work, and from there they know how to improve. We have the big challenges we are having now is how can we access the quality seed in the restoration work we are doing, and this is something that should be carried out by the research. So research is key, but based on local knowledge or indigenous knowledge, it will help very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Hirata.
So now I understand the importance of the knowledge for local people. But I would like to ask Lucas and Cécile, in your countries or in your community, what situation of environmental education for local community? What activity do you act in your country?
For us, thank you for the question, Doctor. For us, we really put the key issues on sensitization, education, and and traditional women know the species of trees that are giving fruit, or that can be used for energy, and that can be used for any other thing. So it's good to use that knowledge when you are developing any mitigation or adaptation project, because then we are sure to be sustainable, and we are sure to be to succeed and to be sustainable in what we are doing. Thank you.
If I can give you an example, what we are seeing just after this project is now is the science is trying to work with the communities to create new ways of see the ecology of these regions. What I want to say is that the formal education that we are trying to work until now, like make it technical sessions or only pass the information that we have in the university, is not enough to discuss the questions about the climate change. So now what we are trying to do now is to give the voices for the local community to teach us how to learn and to create new process of learning. So it's even is a new project, and we're trying to put in the place to make this new ground of discussion between communities and we science, because we don't have the governments in the south, like in Brazil. We don't have the presence of the state, of the institution, of the school in all of the part of the country. We have a huge lack of institutions. So the idea is to work with the communities to make them pass the knowledge of conserve the forest to the other ones. We are only doing the work together.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because for forest conservation, and of course, local community needs some benefit. So this is important point to achieve sustainable forest management and forest conservation. So this point is very important for all people. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So time is almost coming, but I'd like to finally for future generations, I'd like to ask all the presenters who will face with severe impacts of climate change. We ask all of you to share a brief message on ideal relationship between forests and people. Briefly, could you give us the comment?
Yes, the relation between the communities and the communities are part of the forest. The difference is that the forest can stand alone without the need of anyone, but communities need forests to survive. So I think that relation should be well understood, and it should be well developed, because men or women or the humanity need the forest. But if you leave the forest stand alone, they will grow without any need of anyone. We cannot say it's a win-win situation, but we have to benefit from the forest. It means that we have to care for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lopez?
A very short one.
Yeah.
If to say to the young people, to say that the science alone also don't have the answer for the climate crisis, I would like to invite the young people to look for the communities, to work with the communities, to learn about a new cosmovision, a new way to live together in this world.
Okay, thank you. Okabayashi-san?
Yes, forest gives lots for us, and so in Japan we are having forest management that needs the social support. So we need to educate the importance and the benefit from forests. So we need to manage forests properly and hand over forests to the next generation and hope them understand value and benefit and manage forests sustainably.
Thank you.
We indicated future prediction based on scientific data to select their future. It's my comment.
Thank you so much. So thank you for all the speakers. Let's give a big applause to all the speakers. Okay, thank you so much. So now it's time for closing. Thank you for all participating in the seminar today. So we hope this seminar helps consider the actions for tackling various issues under the climate crisis. So see you next time. Bye.